Here's this week's installment of Ezekiel Kralen's story of the two little dogs and the rental agreement and various legal problems. Bad Company, A Typical Night is the title of this particular story. Ezekiel Kralen wrote, email correspondence May 31st and June 1st last year. Subject, who did this? Who did this? Continued. Time, night's gloomy shade. But then some scrawny creep carrying a large bunch of stalks and flowers he must have picked from a homeowner's garden, which smelled delightful like moss and fur, plunked himself nearby and asked for a few hits from Deke's bubble pipe, which he didn't have out. Nah, I don't got any. I'm all out, he addressed him. Go somewhere else, please. You're sitting there with your nose bleeding in front of my friend. I'll see you later. Clean yourself up. You look filthy right now. But he stayed there anyway for a while longer, looking like he doesn't understand where he is or what's going on around him. I just sat there, tending the mutts with kind caresses, allowing Deke his efforts to be rid of the fellow, who finally departed, much to my relief. But then that really crazy guy, who I recently described as the one who just won't shut up, suddenly appeared and sat down on the sidewalk near Deke and almost directly in front of the gate. Large, very tall, lanky, and a blabbering, raspy, loud-mouthed old fool who thinks he's Jesus come back to wipe all pedophiles, meaning gays, off the face of the earth. He immediately started yammering to Deke, cutting off our conversation. He was jonesing badly for more crystal and wouldn't leave Deke alone. Every few minutes or so he'd stand up in anger, dump the contents of his carry bag, then spend much time placing everything back in, screeching and howling all the while, then do it all over again, just for an excuse to linger. This isn't good, Deke, I whispered to him. Can't have this horror right in front of my building. I will get in trouble, and you'll be driven away along with this idiot. But he's a friend, he exclaimed. He's all right most of the time. Well, he sure acts like a crazy piece of shit whenever he comes around here, and I can't have that. You can't have that either. He's destroying your peace to sit and relax here. He's sucking up all your energy and won't shut up. He's no friend. He is a snake. He knows what he's doing, trying to wreck your situation here, standing right in front of the gate, because he knows I live here and is jealous of our friendship. Besides, he's only started showing up a few weeks ago. I've never even seen him with or without you before then. After hearing my appeal, he then stood up, told the creep, whom I shall call Morbius from now on, he's got to go. I've shared my meth with you plenty of times. You can't keep mooching off of me. Just go a couple blocks up there, ask Reggie for some. That's where he's hanging out. Just leave us alone. You're being a nuisance in front of my uncle's building. I can't. They'll beat me up, he whined. Gee, I wonder why, I whispered to Deke. Well, you can't stay here. You're being a pest, he ordered. Now shoo, unless you want me to beat you up too. With that, he approached the old coot with an angry demeanor, upon which Morbius collected his stuff and marched away to glob only knows where, hooting and blabbering again about pedophiles and demons. Deke then told me to watch the dogs. He'll go down the block to make sure he doesn't return. So I sat with them longer, happy to have some quiet time with them, even though Flacco insisted on sitting up to gaze down the block for her master. It's all right, he'll be back soon, I comforted her, while Lucky was already sound asleep alongside my butt. Long story short, Morbius kept returning anyway, walking to and fro halfway up the block, then back down, then along Market Street and back again. I was hoping with all my breath, of course, that some semi would smash into them and grind every last bone of his into the asphalt. Alas, no such luck. He kept this up for almost 20 minutes, encircling us while screeching nonsense. The workers at Hohokam don't like him either, and hollered at him a few times as he passed by to get the hell out of here. At this point, Deke concluded that it was time to go. The psycho would not disappear, and it was getting late. As I packed his stuff, he thanked me several times over, then finally wished me a very good night as I watched them mosey on to, I guess, his tiny cabin homestead. Morbius then started to follow him, but I wasn't worried about that, as Deke takes care of himself and won't let the dogs be threatened. Something Deke told me during last night's meet-up pleased me. I hardly smoke this stuff anymore, or sell it, mostly pot these days, and shrooms now and then. That would be great if he stopped selling meth totally, as he'd no longer have to deal with these potentially dangerous reprobates, and he could continue visiting outside my building in peace. At any rate, I returned upstairs for a few minutes until I realized I'm almost out of soda, so step back out again to purchase more at Rosenberg's. Wouldn't you know it, Watson, there was Morbius again, crossing 16th back and forth, muttering and squawking and swinging his arms like the scary freak he is. I kept my distance by crossing 16th a little further up the hill. And then on my way back, hovel, there was yet another wacko screaming in front of my gate, only this one lives in Hotel California North, just 3 doors down from yours truly. So much for my manic epiphany, though both ugly incidents only dampened it slightly. I'm still ready to change into my Sergeant Pepper uniform, soon as I'm called to the stage to put on the first of many shows. Subject, using Google's Bard AI to ask about Zeke Kralin. Date June 1, afternoon. Unlike ChatGPT, Bard has free access to the Internet, so I posed the following query. Have you read anything on the web by Zeke Kralin? Bard's reply, to be continued. We'll hear about that next week.